the reign of the Emperor. 𝗨𝗪ides, now Emperor of the known universe, rules from Arrakis. His freeman-led jihad has spread across thousands of worlds, claiming billions of lives in his name. Haunted by guilt, Paul struggles with the religious cult forming around him. Stilgar and Chani counsel him, but political tensions grow in his court. The Bene Gesserit, the Spacing Guild, and the remnants of the old houses quietly plot his downfall. The universe is on edge, ruled by a man who can see all possible futures, yet is blind to happiness. The return to 𝗨𝗪. Paul retreats to 𝗨𝗪, seeking guidance from Freeman elders and the desert itself. Chani is pregnant, but her health is fragile, and Paul fears for her future. A mysterious figure watches from the shadows, 𝗨𝗪, a face dancer sent by the 𝗨𝗪𝗪𝗪. Meanwhile, Alia, Paul's sister, grows increasingly unstable, channeling the ancestral memories of generations past. Her presence is both a strength and a danger to the Atreides rule. Paul feels his grip on reality slipping as he walks the fine line between Messiah and monster. The conspiracy emerges. A secret alliance is formed between the Bene Gesserit, the Guild, House Corrino, and the 𝗨𝗪𝗪𝗪. Their goal: remove Paul and control the throne through manipulation and genetic influence. 𝗨𝗪 offers them a plan involving a 𝗨𝗪, a resurrected being grown from the cells of a dead man. The 𝗨𝗪 is revealed to be Duncan Idaho, Paul's most trusted friend and fallen swordmaster. The conspirators hope to use Duncan's loyalty against Paul. Meanwhile, Chani senses something unnatural growing around them. Duncan Idaho Reborn. The 𝗨𝗪, Duncan Idaho, is introduced to the imperial court as a gift from a guild. Paul is emotionally shaken, but keeps his composure. The freemen worship Duncan's return, seeing it as a sign of the divine. Duncan, however, has no memory of his past life, only echoes in his dreams. 𝗨𝗪 manipulates his conditioning, setting the stage for betrayal. Paul begins to suspect the 𝗨𝗪 is more than what he appears. Paul's sight begins to fade. Paul's prescient vision begins to deteriorate, clouded by his emotional attachments and moral conflicts. He confesses to Chani that his path has become a trap, one that leads to tyranny and ruin. Freeman loyalists grow disillusioned as their religious fervor turns to dogma. Meanwhile, Alia becomes more erratic, her mind slipping further under the influence of the memories of the Baron Harkonnen. Paul realizes he can no longer trust even those closest to him. Chani's pregnancy complications. Chani grows weaker as her pregnancy progresses, despite efforts from the Bene Gesserit medics. Paul forbids the use of their fertility drugs, mistrusting their intentions. This angers the Bene Gesserit, who wanted a Kwisatz Haderach heir under their control. Chani experiences terrifying dreams of their child being used as a pawn. Paul's desperation to save her blinds him from the forces working against them. Love becomes his greatest weakness. Alia's descent. Alia succumbs to the voice of the Baron within her, acting erratically and imposing fear on the court. She becomes a symbol of corrupted power, revered and feared by the freemen. The Baron's personality begins to assert control, leading her to secretly join the conspiracy. Stilgar grows suspicious of her growing cruelty. Paul is torn between protecting his sister and defending the legacy of House Atreides. The face dancer's bargain. 𝗨𝗪 approaches Paul directly, offering a deal. If Paul relinquishes the throne, the conspiracy will spare his family. Paul pretends to entertain the offer, but his rage simmers beneath his calm exterior. He warns 𝗨𝗪 never to speak of his children again. The encounter shakes Paul, who sees that his enemies are no longer hiding. He orders a discreet investigation into the origins of Duncan's 𝗨𝗪 body. Duncan's memories awaken. Duncan begins to question his existence as memories surface during combat training with Paul. A near-death experience triggers a flood of memories from his past life. Horrified but reborn, he reclaims his true identity and loyalty to House Atreides. He confronts 𝗨𝗪 and rejects his programming. The conspirators' plan begins to unravel from within. Paul sees a glimmer of hope in Duncan's return. The birth of the twins. 𝗨𝗂𝗍 gives birth to twins, 𝗨𝗨 and 𝗨𝗂𝗯, but dies during childbirth. Paul is devastated, retreating into isolation. The freemen mourn her death with reverence, while Paul begins to doubt his role as emperor. The twins are unusual, highly intelligent and prescient even as infants. The 𝗵𝗿𝗁 immediately express interest in their training. Paul declares them off-limits to all outsiders. The rebellion on 𝗙𝗪𝗁𝗁. House Quirino launches a rebellion from their prison world of 𝗙𝗪𝗁𝗁. Led by the surviving members of the Quirino line, they plan to retake the throne. Sardaukar forces begin a brutal campaign against Paul's outer territories. Stilgar is dispatched with freeman warriors to crush the rebellion. War erupts across multiple systems, drawing attention away from the plot within. Paul's final vision. Paul wanders into the desert alone, seeking a final vision to guide him. He ingests the water of life, risking death, and is thrown into a prophetic trance. He sees a future where 𝗨𝗨𝗍 becomes a god emperor, transforming humanity forever. But this future comes at a cost. His own life and legacy must be sacrificed. Paul awakens with tears in his eyes, knowing what he must do. Assassination attempt. 𝗨𝗨𝗍, fully possessed by the Baron, orchestrates an assassination attempt on the twins. Duncan and Stilgar intervene just in time, saving the children. Paul confronts 𝗨𝗨𝗍 in front of court. She denies all charges, but her erratic behavior causes unrest. Paul knows the Baron must be exorcised, but doing so may destroy 𝗨𝗨𝗍's soul. The moral weight of leadership grows heavier. The betrayal revealed. 𝗙𝗂𝗹𝗹 infiltrates the palace disguised as a servant and attempts to kidnap the twins. He is stopped by Duncan, who kills him after a fierce battle. With 𝗙𝗂𝗹𝗍's death, the full conspiracy is revealed through documents he carried. The 𝗵𝗿𝗁 and the guild are exposed, causing a diplomatic crisis across the empire. Paul decides it's time to end the conflict through sacrifice, not blood. The trial of 𝗨𝗨𝗍. Paul puts 𝗨𝗨𝗍 on trial before the freemen. She pleads her case, but her madness is evident. The Baron manifests fully, mocking Paul and trying to seize control. In a final act of defiance, 𝗨𝗨𝗍 regains control and chooses death over possession. Her sacrifice redeems her in the eyes of the freemen. Paul weeps for the sister he could not save. Abdication. Paul announces his abdication from the throne. He names his children the rightful heirs, with Duncan and Stilgar as their protectors. The freemen are shocked, but Paul explains that the golden path must begin with their freedom, not his rule. He leaves behind his empire, choosing exile in the deep desert. The court mourns his departure, but some sense it is the beginning of something greater. Paul becomes the blind prophet. Living as a blind wanderer, Paul embraces his role as a holy figure, not a ruler. Rumors of his appearances in remote sietches spread across Arrakis. Freeman pilgrims seek his wisdom in the desert. His legend grows even in absence, becoming a mythic symbol. Paul finds peace, free from politics and war. The rise of 𝗨𝗨𝗍 and 𝗨𝗂𝗯. The twins begin their training under Duncan, Stilgar, and a loyal 𝗵𝗿𝗁 tutor. Their prescient abilities start to reveal signs of the golden path. 𝗨𝗨𝗍 begins to speak in ways beyond his age, hinting at a future where humanity's survival depends on difficult choices. The 𝗵𝗿𝗁 watch with equal awe and fear. A new era begins. The new Imperium. The Atreides twins are officially crowned rulers of the empire under a regency. Major houses pledge fealty to House Atreides once again. The Spacing Guild, weakened and exposed, signs new trade treaties. A time of peace begins, but underneath, the universe shifts toward 𝗨𝗨𝗍's hidden agenda. Paul's children carry the burden of shaping the future. The legacy of 𝗬𝗏𝗎𝗍. Paul's name becomes legend, a prophet who shaped the fate of countless worlds. His teachings are recorded in the sacred scrolls of Arrakis. Statues rise across the Imperium, but his real legacy lives in the hearts of those who truly knew him. As the suns rise over the desert, 𝗨𝗨𝗍 gazes at the horizon, aware that his own destiny will eclipse even his father's. The golden path has only just begun.